Here comes Moses. Here comes the quarterback, Burrow. Looking for a block, and he got it up in the front by Hopkins into the end zone. Touchdown!
Fakes, throwing to the end zone. Wide open is Higgins for the Cincinnati touchdown.
There's the sneak. Burrow gets low, driving towards the goal line. He's inside the one, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown.
We're about to get into some new stripes. Thirsty.
Here comes Moses. Here comes the quarterback, Burrow. Looking for a block, and he got it up in the front by Hopkins.
Thirsty.
Touchdown!
He's inside the one, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown.
Welcome to the New Strike City YouTube channel for diehard Bengals fans. I'm your host, Ace Boogie, and we're here today to talk about DeDe Westbrook. The Bengals have reached out to DeDe Westbrook in terms of syncing some preliminary conversations, according to Jose Alexander on Twitter. And so the key thing there is you're hearing about DeDe Westbrook. He was a guy that in 2017 I actually wanted instead of John Ross because I felt like you could get him in later rounds. He was the Blitnikoff Award winner. He was a deep threat. He was a guy that just caught nothing but deep bombs for touchdowns. And the other thing about him is not only does he have that fast blazing speed, he also was a kick returner. And so it seems that he's kind of expended his time in Jacksonville and kind of ended up exiting with an injury last year. It was an ACL injury. And so what I think about this is it makes sense because the Bengals are doing their due diligence, checking up to see how he's recovering from the injury. Now, he's got 3 teams interested in him. One of those teams were the Kansas City Chiefs, so there were a lot of players on the Chiefs recruiting him. I'm not sure if there were Bengals players recruiting him as well, but he would be a welcome addition. Since the Chiefs have been recruiting him, that's kind of why I didn't jump on this story initially, because to me, he may have a bigger role with the Chiefs versus a team like the Bengals. Now, that's not to rule the Bengals out. I would love for him to come to the Bengals, and the Bengals kind of have a need at the kick return spot, being that they only really have my guy Darius Phillips there. They don't really have anyone else there. They haven't really filled that void. But they also have a need to add speed, and I think that DeDe Westbrook is a guy that adds that. There's also guys like Tavon Austin that are out there, but DeDe Westbrook will be a great person to bring on because he's only 27 years old, so he's under 30. He's a big playmaker that you can add to this offense, and he can do a lot of things that a lot of guys out there can't do, and you might be able to get him for a good price at this point. The only thing is selling him on what kind of role he's going to have with the team, I think, is going to be the major hurdle because not only the Bengals are interested in him, but there's some other teams that have been interested in him as well. And like I listed earlier, primarily the Chiefs, so with players actually targeting him and trying to get him to go there, it's going to be interesting to see. And we have to see how serviceable he can be once he's fully recovered from that knee injury that he suffered. And so he has had back-to-back 66-catch seasons in Jacksonville in 2018 and 2019 before he suffered that knee injury. So he was on a team playing well behind DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, Keenan Cole. So he kind of got phased out after one point, and he, essentially tore his ACL in week 7. And throughout that whole season, he only had 1 target, 1 catch for 4 yards. So he kind of got phased out there once some other guys came on there in Jacksonville. But definitely a guy that could definitely do some things for the Bengals. Will they sign him? I think they've obviously shown interest in signing him. So we'll have to see. But I think it also depends on how big of a player the Chiefs are in this. Whenever you're going in it with a team that just went to the Super Bowl and with them having a number 2 slot open, especially with Sammy Watkins leaving, I think that makes it interesting. Obviously, they went after Juju Smith-Schuster as well in free agency. So I think that's what it comes down to. And it's just good to hear that the Bengals are doing their due diligence. I think he would be a welcomed addition to the room. I think that this also means even if they don't sign Westbrook, that they're still interested in signing wide receivers. Now, the other interesting thing is that there was a comment that Trey Turner apparently is only looking for $2 to $3 million for a year. I think that the Bengals should jump on that because when you look at what they have at left guard, I'd love to add him at left guard. If you're making Jackson Carman the right guard, I would love that. You talk about having Jonah Williams, Trey Turner, Trey Hopkins, Jackson Carman, Riley Reef. I think that's a rebuilt line. So will they do it? I'm not sure. I mean, I thought before the whole holdup was the price, but to get a multi-year Pro Bowler for that price, it's almost a no-brainer. And, Lap talked about potentially cutting some guys on that line, and you got guys that pretty much make that amount now that you could move on from. And I just think, to me, it's just a no-brainer to add someone like that. Yes, Trey Turner did have a down year last year, but think about what his down year is compared to some of the players on that line for the Bengals last year. So the hope is that they will bring him on and do some things. And that's what we can hope for. I think if the Bengals do that, it's a slam dunk. But obviously they did load up at the guard position, so they might not feel like they're forced to actually do that. When you talk about some of the guys that they got in the draft, such as Trey Hill, who can move between guard and center. So that'll be interesting. That's something to keep your eyes on. And the Bengals aren't done, like Zach Taylor said. So keep an eye on those. But for me, I'd love to sign both of them. I mean, for me, I'd sign DeDe Westbrook and I'd sign Trey Hill as well. But like I said, you see who the other team that's involved with it. And, potentially they can not only offer him a team that just went to the Super Bowl, but they could also offer him a bigger role. And I think with them having Jamar Chase, you talk about my man T. Higgins, and then you talk about Boyd, and then you also talk about Auden Tate. It's kind of a limited situation for him in terms of snaps if he has options on the table with more snaps and a bigger role. But I think that he would definitely be a kick returner there. He would definitely be a guy that could catch touchdowns and be a deep threat and open up this offense even more and give Joe Burrow another weapon to throw to. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please hit that subscribe button. Truly appreciate that. About half of you guys are subscribed now. And if you do subscribe to this channel, you will be entered into a competition for 15,000 subs. Whoever gets there, whenever we get there, you'll be entered into a random selection for a giveaway contest to get a jersey of your liking. Whichever jersey you want, I'm going to get it. Whether you're a Bengals fan, you might be a Browns fan, you might even be a Steelers fan, I'll go ahead and get you a jersey of your choice. So with that being said, also check out the new jerseys link in the description. We have the new stripes, and I do have a link in the description that helps benefit and grow the channel, so we truly appreciate that. And as usual, I'll leave you guys with a who day all day, every day, and especially on Sunday.
Here comes Moses. Here comes the quarterback, Burrow. Looking for a block, and he got it up in the front by Hopkins into the end zone. Touchdown!
Fakes, throwing to the end zone, wide open is Higgins for the Cincinnati touchdown.
There's the sneak. Burrow gets low, driving towards the goal line. He's inside the one, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown.